Few skills are more valuable than knowing who deserves your trust and who does not. Every year, countless people find themselves betrayed, manipulated, deceived, or disappointed, not because the warning signs were hidden, but because they were misunderstood. Truth is that human beings reveal far more than they intend to. Every conversation, every reaction, every habit, and every choice leaves clues about a person's character. Yet most people spend their lives focusing on words while missing the patterns that truly matter. What makes this even more dangerous is that some of the most untrustworthy individuals are often the most charming at first. They know how to create good impressions. They know how to say the right things. They know how to make others feel comfortable. Beneath that polished surface, small signals often reveal a very different story. Psychology researchers have spent decades studying human behavior, and their findings reveal a fascinating reality. People are surprisingly predictable. While nobody can read minds, consistent patterns that expose intentions, values, and character long before trust is earned. The problem is that these signals are subtle. Most people never learn to recognize them until it is too late. By the end of this video, you will understand how to spot the behaviors that reveal genuine integrity, how to identify hidden red flags before they become serious problems, why first impressions are often unreliable, and how to recognize the difference between someone who simply appears trustworthy and someone who truly is. You will also discover why stress, failure, conflict, and even ordinary daily interactions can expose more about a person than years of friendly conversations. Some of the insights you're about to learn are rarely discussed, yet they can completely change the way you evaluate the people around you. More importantly, they can help protect you from costly mistakes in relationships, friendships, business partnerships, in everyday life. The final lesson in this video may be the most important of all, because it reveals a simple principle that can instantly improve your judgment of others and prevent years of regret. So stay with us until the very end, because the ability to read people accurately is not a gift reserved for a select few. It is a skill that anyone can develop. And once you learn it, you will start noticing things that most people completely overlook. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy learning about psychology, human behavior, self-improvement, and the hidden patterns that shape everyday life, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our future videos. Now, let's begin uncovering how to read people like a book before you trust them. First mistake most people make when judging others is believing what they hear instead of paying attention to what they see. Human beings naturally trust words. A person says they are loyal and we want to believe them. A person says they are honest and we accept it as truth. A person says they care about us and we feel safe. The problem is that words are the easiest thing in the world to give away. They cost nothing. They require no effort. They demand no sacrifice. Anyone can make a promise. Anyone can create a good impression. Anyone can describe themselves as kind, trustworthy, hardworking, respectful, or dependable. The real question is not what people say about themselves. The real question is what their actions reveal when nobody is asking them to perform. Many people spend years getting fooled because they focus on statements instead of evidence. They listen carefully to explanations, excuses, promises, and compliments, but they ignore behavior. This is why some of the biggest disappointments in life feel so shocking. The warning signs were often visible from the beginning. They were simply hidden behind attractive words. Think about how often people describe themselves in positive ways. Very few people openly introduce themselves as dishonest, selfish, irresponsible, or manipulative. Most people present the best version of themselves. That is normal. But if everyone is presenting a polished image, then words become a poor tool for judging character. Actions become far more reliable. Actions require commitment. Actions involve risk. Actions reveal priorities. A person can claim they value friendship, but do they show up when support is needed? A person can claim they respect others, but how do they behave when frustrated? A person can promise loyalty, but what happens when loyalty becomes inconvenient? These questions reveal far more than any speech ever could. The difference between words and actions is often where the truth lives. This is why experienced investigators, psychologists, negotiators, and leaders spend less time listening to claims and more time observing behavior. They understand that people reveal themselves through what they repeatedly do. Someone may tell you they are patient, but if they lose control over every small inconvenience, the behavior tells a different story. Someone may insist they are honest, but if they constantly twist facts to protect themselves, the behavior speaks louder than the claim. Character is not found in what people advertise. Character is found in what they practice. One of the most dangerous traps is becoming emotionally attached to a person's potential rather than paying attention to their current behavior. Potential can be attractive. Potential gives hope. Potential allows people to imagine a better future. But trust should never be built on potential. Trust should be built on evidence. Many people ignore obvious signs because they become focused on who they think someone might become someday. They overlook dishonesty because they believe it will change. They ignore selfish behavior because they expect maturity to develop later. They excuse disrespect because they assume the person is simply having a difficult time. While growth is possible for everyone, trust should be based on what is consistently visible, not on what might happen in the future. This simple shift in thinking can prevent countless mistakes. Instead of asking what a person says they are, ask what they repeatedly demonstrate. Instead of asking what they promise, ask what they deliver. Instead of focusing on explanations, focus on outcomes. Reality becomes much easier to understand when actions become the primary source of information. This leads to another important principle. One action rarely tells the full story. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has bad days. Everyone occasionally says the wrong thing or handles a situation poorly. Human beings are imperfect. Judging someone's entire character based on a single event can be unfair. This is where patterns become incredibly important. Patterns reveal what isolated actions cannot. A single mistake may be accidental. A repeated behavior becomes information. When a person repeatedly behaves in a certain way, a deeper truth begins to emerge. Patterns remove confusion because they show consistency over time. One late arrival means very little. Repeated lateness may reveal a lack of respect for other people's time. One broken promise might happen for a legitimate reason. Repeated broken promises suggest unreliability. One negative comment about another person may not mean much. Constant gossip often reveals a habit of speaking poorly about others. Patterns create a picture that becomes difficult to ignore. They allow you to move beyond first impressions and see the structure underneath. Small habits often reveal larger character traits. This is something many people overlook because they are waiting for dramatic evidence. They expect major signs to expose a person's true nature. In reality, character is often hidden inside ordinary behaviors. A person who constantly makes excuses may be revealing an inability to accept responsibility. A person who regularly blames others for their problems may be showing a pattern of avoiding accountability. A person who frequently exaggerates stories may be demonstrating a comfort with distortion. These habits seem small when viewed individually. Over time, however, they begin to reveal how someone approaches life. The reason patterns are so powerful is that they are difficult to fake for long periods. People can manage their image for a short time. Maintaining a false image consistently becomes much harder. Eventually, habits begin to surface. Repeated choices begin to tell a story. The truth starts leaking through everyday behavior. Consider the person who always has an explanation for every mistake. At first, the explanations may sound convincing. Maybe traffic caused the delay. Maybe someone else created the problem. Maybe circumstances were unfair. Occasionally, these explanations may even be true. But after months or years of hearing a different excuse every time something goes wrong, a pattern becomes visible. The pattern is not the specific excuse. The pattern is the refusal to accept responsibility. A single pattern can reveal far more than any individual event. The same principle applies to chronic lateness. Most people are late once in a while. Life happens. Emergencies occur. Unexpected situations appear. But someone who is late over and over again is communicating something through their behavior. Whether intentional or not, they are showing where your time ranks among their priorities. Repetition transforms random events into meaningful information. Gossip provides another powerful example. Many people enjoy hearing information about others. It can feel entertaining, it can feel harmless, but frequent gossip often reveals deeper issues. A person who constantly shares private information about others may eventually do the same with your information. A person who enjoys discussing people's weaknesses may eventually discuss yours. This does not mean every casual conversation is a warning sign. Pattern matters. Repeated behavior creates predictability. Predictability allows you to understand what kind of treatment you can expect in the future. This is why observing patterns is one of the most effective ways to read people. You are not trying to predict the future through guesswork. You are studying repeated evidence. Broken promises reveal another important lesson. Trust grows when words and actions match. Trust weakens when words and actions separate. Some people become experts at making promises. They promise support, they promise change, they promise consistency, they promise commitment, yet their actions never fully align with their statements. The gap between words and actions becomes larger over time. This gap is often one of the clearest indicators of character. Reliable people generally make fewer promises and keep more of them. Unreliable people often make many promises and fulfill very few. The difference becomes obvious when observed over an extended period. Patterns become even more valuable because they protect you from emotional manipulation. Strong emotions can distort judgment. Attraction can distort judgment. Excitement can distort judgment. Fear can distort judgment. When emotions become intense, people often ignore evidence that would otherwise seem obvious. Patterns provide an anchor to reality. Instead of asking how someone makes you feel in a particular moment, patterns encourage you to examine what they consistently do. This creates a more accurate understanding of who they really are. Yet there is another method that reveals character even faster than patterns. In many situations, years of observation are not necessary. Certain moments accelerate the process. Certain moments strip away carefully constructed images. Certain moments reveal what lies beneath the surface. Those moments usually arrive when pressure enters the picture. Pressure changes everything. Stress has a unique ability to expose hidden qualities. Challenges self-control, it tests values, it forces decisions. Many people can appear calm, generous, respectful, and patient when life is comfortable. Maintaining those qualities becomes far more difficult when things start going wrong. This is why pressure often reveals information that ordinary situations hide. Watch how people react when they do not get what they want. This single observation can be incredibly revealing. Some people handle disappointment with maturity. They adjust, they remain respectful, they accept reality and move forward. Others become hostile, aggressive, bitter, or manipulative. The disappointment itself is not the important part. The reaction is what matters. Reactions reveal emotional control. Reactions reveal expectations. Reactions reveal how people behave when the world refuses to cooperate with their desires. Criticism creates another powerful test. Most people enjoy praise. Praise feels good. Praise requires little effort to accept. Criticism is different. Criticism challenges the ego. It creates discomfort. It forces self-reflection. Some individuals respond to criticism by listening, evaluating, and learning. Others immediately become defensive. They attack, they blame, they deny. They refuse to consider any possibility that they might be wrong. The ability to handle criticism often reveals emotional maturity. It reveals confidence. It reveals whether someone values truth more than pride. Failure creates similar opportunities for observation. Everyone experiences failure eventually. No one escapes it. Failure can expose qualities that success keeps hidden. Some people respond to failure by learning and improving. Others search desperately for someone else to blame. Some become more determined. Others become destructive. The response often reveals responsibility and resilience. It reveals whether someone can remain honest when circumstances become difficult. Conflict is another situation worth watching carefully. Many people appear peaceful when everyone agrees with them. Real character often becomes visible during disagreement. How does a person handle conflict? Do they remain respectful even when emotions rise? Do they listen to opposing views? Do they attack the person instead of addressing the issue? Do they become dishonest when trying to win an argument? Conflict reveals values because it forces people to choose between principles and emotions. Under pressure, hidden habits often emerge. Stress also has a way of exposing integrity. Integrity means doing the right thing even when it is difficult. It is easy to act ethically when there is no cost involved. The true test arrives when honesty becomes inconvenient. The true test arrives when shortcuts become tempting. Pressure creates those moments. A person's decisions during stressful situations often reveal what they genuinely believe. When resources become limited, when opportunities become scarce, when consequences become serious, values face their greatest challenge. This is why stressful situations often reveal more about someone than years of pleasant conversations. Many people spend enormous energy creating positive impressions. They learn how to appear confident. They learn how to appear trustworthy. They learn how to appear kind. But pressure disrupts performance. It becomes harder to maintain an image when emotions are running high. This does not mean people suddenly become different under pressure. In many cases, pressure simply reveals qualities that were already present. The mask slips, the filters weaken. Hidden tendencies become visible. That is why observing people during difficult moments can be so informative. A person may seem patient until frustration appears. A person may seem generous until sacrifice becomes necessary. A person may seem honest until dishonesty becomes profitable. A person may seem loyal until loyalty becomes costly. Pressure creates conditions that reveal these differences. The challenge is that most people focus on outcomes instead of reactions. They focus on what happened rather than how someone responded, yet the response often contains the most valuable information of all. And while pressure exposes many important truths about human nature, there is another test that quietly reveals character every single day. Test so powerful that many people completely overlook it. There is a test of character that happens every single day, yet most people barely notice it. It does not take years of observation. It does not require special knowledge of psychology. It does not depend on reading body language or analyzing complicated behavior. The test is surprisingly simple. Watch how people treat those who cannot give them anything in return. This may be one of the strongest indicators of character that exists. Many people know how to behave well when there is something to gain. They know how to impress important people. They know how to show respect to those with power. They know how to be polite when a reward is waiting on the other side. Character becomes much clearer when there is no obvious benefit attached to good behavior. When there is nothing to gain, motivations become easier to see. The mask becomes harder to maintain. The truth begins to appear in ordinary moments that most people ignore. Pay attention to how someone treats service workers. Watch how they speak to waiters, cashiers, drivers, cleaners, receptionists, and customer service employees. These interactions often reveal more than conversations with friends or family. Why? Because these are situations where social status often changes the way people behave. Some individuals are warm, respectful, and patient regardless of who they are speaking to. Others become demanding, rude, dismissive, or arrogant. The difference matters. A person who only shows kindness when it benefits them is not demonstrating character. They are demonstrating calculation. Real respect does not depend on status. Real respect remains present whether the other person is rich or poor, powerful or powerless, important or unnoticed. When respect disappears the moment there is no advantage attached to it, that should never be ignored. Many people mistakenly judge character based on how someone treats them personally. This can be dangerous because people often put extra effort into relationships they value. They become attentive, they become generous, they become supportive, but that behavior may not represent who they truly are. It may simply reflect what they want from the relationship. The better question is how they treat people who have nothing to offer them. Someone may treat you wonderfully while treating everyone else poorly. In that situation, the way they treat others is often the more accurate reflection of their character. The reason is simple. Their behavior toward you may be influenced by self-interest. Their behavior toward others is more likely to reveal their natural habits. Strangers provide another valuable source of information. Every day people encounter individuals they will probably never meet again. These interactions create opportunities for genuine behavior because there are often no future consequences involved. Some people remain respectful even when there's no chance of receiving recognition or reward. Others become careless, impatient, or cruel because they believe the interaction does not matter. Yet these moments matter a great deal when trying to understand someone's character. The way a person treats strangers often reveals how they behave when they believe nobody is paying attention. It reveals what happens when social rewards disappear. Character is not what people do when everyone is watching. Character is what people do when they believe nobody cares. Another group worth observing is junior employees or people lower in an organizational hierarchy. Many individuals are respectful toward managers, executives, and authority figures. That is easy. There are incentives involved. Opportunities may depend on those relationships. But how do they treat interns? How do they treat new employees? How do they treat people who cannot influence their success? These interactions can reveal enormous amounts of information. Some people use power responsibly. They encourage, they teach, they support. Others use power as an opportunity to dominate. They become impatient. They become disrespectful. They enjoy making others feel small. The difference often reveals whether someone values people or merely values status. History provides countless examples of individuals who appeared charming, intelligent, and trustworthy while treating less powerful people poorly. Many successful con artists understood this principle. They knew how to impress important targets. They knew how to appear confident and likable. Yet, if someone had observed their treatment of those they considered unimportant, a very different picture might have emerged. This is because manipulation often focuses upward. Manipulators direct effort toward people who can provide value. Their kindness becomes selective. Their respect becomes conditional. Their generosity becomes strategic. That distinction is extremely important. Genuine kindness remains consistent. Strategic kindness appears only when benefits are available. One reason this test works so well is because it reveals underlying beliefs. Every action reflects a view of the world. When someone consistently treats less powerful individuals with dignity, they are revealing a belief that people deserve respect regardless of status. When someone consistently dismisses, ignores, or mistreats others based on status, they're revealing a different belief. They may never say those beliefs out loud, they may even deny them, but behavior communicates what words often hide. Human beings reveal their priorities through actions long before they reveal them through statements. There's another reason people overlook this test. The behavior often appears small. A rude comment, an impatient response, a dismissive tone, a lack of basic courtesy. None of these moments seem dramatic on their own, yet character is rarely revealed through a single dramatic event. Character is revealed through repeated choices. Small moments accumulate. Small actions become habits. Habits become patterns. Patterns reveal values. That is why paying attention to everyday interactions can be so powerful. The details people ignore often contain the information they need most. Of course, some manipulative individuals understand this test. They know people are watching. They know kindness creates positive impressions. They know politeness can build trust. As a result, they learn to perform kindness when necessary. They become skilled at creating an image of generosity and respect. This is why even this powerful test has limitations. Some people can pass it. Some people can maintain the appearance of good character for surprisingly long periods. They understand what others expect to see. They know how to deliver the right signals. They know how to appear trustworthy. So if certain individuals can successfully create positive impressions, what eventually exposes them? The answer is time. Time is one of the most powerful tools for understanding people. Time removes uncertainty. Time reveals contradictions. Time exposes weaknesses and false images. Many people can maintain a role for days. Some can maintain it for months. A few can maintain it for years. But time has a way of uncovering reality. The longer you observe someone, the harder it becomes for them to hide their true nature. Consistency becomes difficult to fake. Patterns become impossible to ignore. This is why patience is such an important part of reading people accurately. Rushing trust often leads to mistakes because important information has not yet had time to appear. Trustworthy people tend to be predictable. This does not mean they are boring. It does not mean they lack personality. It does not mean they never change or grow. Predictability simply means their values remain stable, their behavior remains stable, their principles remain stable. You generally know what to expect from them because they operate according to consistent standards. They do not become completely different people depending on circumstances. Their integrity remains visible across different situations. This kind of consistency creates trust because it reduces uncertainty. You learn that their behavior is guided by values rather than convenience. Many people misunderstand predictability. They assume exciting personalities must be unpredictable. They assume trustworthy individuals should always be interesting and surprising. In reality, trust often depends on consistency. Think about the people you trust most. Chances are you trust them because their actions align with their values over long periods. You know how they will respond in important situations. You know what principles guide their decisions. You know their words and actions generally match. This reliability creates confidence. It allows trust to grow naturally instead of relying on hope. One of the biggest warning signs appears when someone becomes a completely different person around different groups. Everyone adjusts slightly depending on context. That is normal. People behave differently with family than they do with coworkers. They behave differently in professional environments than they do with close friends. But there is a difference between adaptation and transformation. Adaptation changes style. Transformation changes character. If someone appears honest in one group and dishonest in another, respectful in one environment and cruel in another, generous in one situation and selfish in another, that inconsistency deserves attention. It may indicate that behavior is being driven by convenience rather than values. Constant contradictions provide another important signal. A person claims honesty but regularly lies. A person claims loyalty but frequently betrays confidence. A person claims responsibility but blames others whenever problems arise. These contradictions create confusion because words and actions point in different directions. Many people resolve that confusion by believing the words. This is often a mistake. When words and actions disagree repeatedly, actions usually provide the more accurate information. Contradictions are valuable because they reveal gaps between image and reality. Sudden personality shifts can also reveal important information. Everyone experiences growth and change. That is natural. But dramatic shifts that appear only when circumstances change deserve careful observation. Some individuals become kind when they need support and distant when they no longer need it. Some become humble during difficult periods and arrogant during successful ones. Some become generous when being observed and selfish when attention disappears. These shifts often reveal that behavior is tied to circumstances rather than principles. Stable character remains relatively consistent across changing situations. Time is especially powerful because it weakens performance. Maintaining a false image requires energy, it requires attention, it requires constant self-monitoring. Eventually, most people become tired. Habits emerge, real preferences emerge, real values emerge. The person you meet on the first day is often not the same person you fully understand years later. Time allows observation across different situations. Success, failure, stress, disappointment, conflict, opportunity, temptation all create opportunities for character to reveal itself. The more situations you observe, the clearer the picture becomes. This is why rushing trust can be risky. Many people become convinced they understand someone after a short period. Trust based on chemistry. They trust based on excitement. They trust based on promises. Yet character often requires time to evaluate properly. Certain traits only appear under specific conditions. Certain habits only become visible after repeated observation. Certain patterns only emerge when enough evidence has accumulated. Time acts as a filter that separates appearances from reality. As valuable as consistency is, there is one final lesson that matters even more. It is a principle that sits at the center of everything we have discussed. It explains why some people repeatedly trust the wrong individuals despite seeing warning signs. It explains why obvious red flags are often ignored. It explains why intelligent people sometimes make poor judgments about character. The reason is that they focus on potential instead of patterns. Potential is powerful because it appeals to hope. Human beings naturally want to believe in positive outcomes. They want to believe people will improve. They want to believe promises will be fulfilled. They want to believe the future will be better than the present. There is nothing wrong with hope. Hope can inspire growth. Hope can encourage change. Hope can help people overcome difficulties. The problem begins when hope replaces observation. The problem begins when potential becomes more important than evidence. Many people trust who someone could become. They see possibilities. They see future versions of the person. They imagine greater maturity, greater responsibility, greater honesty, or greater commitment. Then they make decisions based on that imagined future rather than the reality in front of them. This creates countless problems because trust is being placed in possibilities instead of facts. Potential is uncertain. Patterns are observable. Potential is a prediction. Patterns are evidence. Potential describes what might happen. Patterns describe what is already happening. Smart observers understand this distinction. They do not ignore potential completely. They simply refuse to let it override reality. If a person's actions consistently demonstrate dishonesty, those actions matter more than promises about future honesty. If a person's behavior repeatedly reveals selfishness, those behaviors matter more than plans for future generosity. The goal is not to become cynical. The goal is to remain grounded in evidence. Actions reveal character. Patterns reveal truth. And the longer those patterns continue, the harder they become to deny. Hope has a unique ability to blur judgment. It encourages people to explain away warning signs. It encourages people to focus on exceptions instead of patterns. It encourages people to believe that tomorrow will somehow be different from today despite overwhelming evidence. This is why some individuals remain trapped in unhealthy relationships, friendships, partnerships, and situations for years. They become attached to potential. They become attached to promises. They become attached to possibilities. Meanwhile, the patterns continue speaking clearly for anyone willing to listen. The biggest mistake people make is not trusting the wrong person. The biggest mistake is ignoring what they already saw. Most betrayals do not arrive without warning. Most disappointments do not appear out of nowhere. The clues were often there from the beginning. Hidden in small habits, hidden in repeated actions, hidden in moments that seem too insignificant to matter. People reveal themselves every single day through the choices they make, the promises they keep, the pressure they face, and the way they treat those around them. The challenge is not that the truth is invisible. The challenge is that many people choose hope over evidence. They choose words over actions. They choose potential over patterns. The ability to read people is not about becoming cold, paranoid, or suspicious of everyone you meet. It is about becoming aware. It is about learning to see what has always been there. The more observant you become, the less likely you are to be controlled by appearances. You stop judging people by what they say and start judging them by what they consistently do. And that simple shift can save you from years of frustration, heartbreak, and regret. Remember this: trust is one of the most valuable things you possess. Do not give it away simply because someone asks for it. Do not give it away because it sounds convincing. Give it to people who earn it. Give it to people whose actions match their words. Give it to people who remain consistent when nobody is watching. Because the people who truly deserve your trust will never need to demand it. They will never need to pressure you into giving it. They will prove themselves naturally, slowly, and repeatedly through their behavior over time. And here is the most important lesson of all. Quality of your life is heavily influenced by the people you allow close to you. The right people can bring support, growth, loyalty, and peace. The wrong people can bring stress, confusion, and pain. Learning how to tell the difference is one of the most powerful skills you will ever develop. If this video changed the way you look at people, leave a comment with the word "observe" below. I would love to know how many people are starting to see human behavior differently after watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Every like helps this video reach more people, and every share could help costly stake in their relationships and life. Now, join us for more behavior, self-improvement, and the hidden truths that most people never notice. Because sometimes the most important skill in life is not reading books, it's reading people.